Welcome to my next Last of Us Season 2 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am every watch, you're watching The Last of Us, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, fine. If you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And yes, I know that the Season 2 of The Last of Us has already ended. These are late reviews. I never played the video games. I did reviews for The Last of Us Season 1 when the episodes aired, and I felt there was something missing. Now, I knew almost all the spoilers. I think I know all the spoilers going into it, but I felt like the reviews were missing something. They were relatively quick, and I didn't really give a lot of information. So I waited to see if I could retain more information if I watched the whole season. And I did, but now I'm talking for a lot longer. So, big fan of the show. It's definitely one of my all-time favorites. Now, where specifically it ranks, you're looking at top 30 for sure. Possibly in the top 20 or before. We'll see about that. But I'll do a ranking for those probably in August of my top 50 of all time for TV shows. But I started watching the show because the Season 1 trailer looked immaculate. And then, of course, a YouTuber like Cody Leach already had the season and saw it ahead of time and said it was the best video game adaptation. The only video game thing I've really seen is the Resident Evil movies, which a couple of them I like. And yeah, this is definitely good quality. Like it a lot. I don't have strong opinions on it because I never played the video game, but I like this show and I want to continue talking about it. So with all that said, this will be The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 6. The title of this episode is called The Price. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. We have a young Joel who consoles Tommy, who fears that their father will beat him for what he has done, and Joel assures Tommy that it'll be fine and tells him to stay in his room. Later that night, his father, Javier Miller, played by Tony Dalton, who we know as Lalo Salamanca in Better Call Saul, arrives home in his squad car. Finding Joel sitting at the kitchen table, he asks that Joel explain what happened, and Joel starts to say that he was ripped off by another kid while trying to buy pot, and so he started a fight, but his dad interrupts him to reveal he already knows the truth. Tommy was the one that was getting ripped off. Joel overheard and beat up the kid, reminding Joel that were they not the sons of a police officer, they would both be in juvie. Joel insists that his dad will not hurt Tommy, to which his dad sighs and brings out 2 beers from the fridge, offering one to Joel. He shares with Joel that the time his father punched him in the face after he stole a candy bar as a child, breaking his jaw and forcing him to have his mouth wired shut, facing the humiliation of all his schoolmates knowing why. Joel questions why his dad hits them, to which his dad insists he does not do it as nearly as bad as their grandfather did, but he admits that he does go too far. Tearfully, he tells Joel that he is trying to do better than his own father, and that he hopes for Joel, when it's his turn to have children, he does a little better than him. And then we go to 2024, 2 months after Joel and Ellie return to Jackson. Joel meets with Seth at the bar, giving him a pack of Legos that he found in a place. And Seth accepts the item for a trade and offers to have the item he promised to Joel by Friday, but Joel insists he needs it by tomorrow. Seth accepts and asks vanilla or chocolate, but makes Joel say vanilla because it's easier, and Joel adds he has one more request. Joel arrives home to find Ellie gone. He heads to his home workshop with a piece of bone that Seth gave him, carving it into a saddle on a guitar he is in the process of restoring. He carves the image of a moth into a board before assembling and tuning the strings. Just as he finishes, he hears Tommy arrive and puts it down. Tommy brings a loopy Ellie to her room, explaining she is on painkillers after burning her arm on a pot during kitchen duty, and Ellie admits she wanted to be able to wear short sleeves again, referring to the bite scar that her burn has now covered. The next morning, it's her 15th birthday. She comes downstairs to find Joel grumbling over the kitchen counter. As it turns out, his request from Seth was a birthday cake for Ellie, but Seth misspelled her name as Eli. Ellie enjoys the cake regardless. She starts to scarf it down before Joel can even cut it. and that actually amuses Joel. And then Joel gives her the guitar and shows off the details and reminds her he could promise to teach her. Ellie asks if Joel could play a song for her, insisting that when he hesitates that is her birthday, Joel sits down and sings Future Days by Pearl Jam, which Ellie claims didn't suck. Joel tells her that he understands why she did what she did to her arm and wishes her a happy birthday. And then a year later, Joel takes Ellie on a field trip for her 16th birthday. Ellie tries to guess what Joel got for her, such as a bow and arrow, a dinosaur, or a bunch of kittens. As they walk through an overgrown trail, Ellie asks if she could join a patrol, noting Jesse started going on patrols at 16. And Joel asks if she and Jesse have something going on, which an amused Ellie denies. They arrive at their first stop, which turns out to be a statue of a T-Rex that Ellie excitedly climbs to the top of. She spots a museum in the distance, which Joel reveals they are going to. Joel takes her into the museum space exhibit, including a star hallway and a working, or I mistyped something here. I'm not sure what I was supposed to put. Which he reveals he had already oiled in anticipation of their visit. He then shows her the main event, the real Apollo 15 command module Endeavour. Before climbing in, he allows to pick Ellie a helmet from one of the display cases nearby, and then inside the capsule, as Ellie plays with the switches, Joel gives Ellie a cassette tape and tells her to listen to it. The tape turns out to be the recording of a real countdown at the launch of Apollo 11, and Ellie vividly imagines herself launching into space, feeling the rocket and the sensation of light through the capsule window. Sounds like a cool time. They head back to Jackson as Joel comments that they should travel together more. Ellie agrees, only to stop as she spots some fireflies floating nearby. She brushes it off and continues with Joel. And then Joel arrives home on Ellie's 17th birthday with another cake from Seth, now chocolate with her name spelled right. He heads upstairs to surprise her, only to overhear her with someone in her room. He knocks on the door and barges in to find her and Kat putting their shirts on. As Kat leaves, Joel notices her packing a tattoo gun and discovers Kat was in the process of putting a moth tattoo on Ellie's arm. Joel expresses outrage at Ellie doing all the teenage shit at once as he puts out a joint that Ellie had been using, naming drugs and tattoos and sex and experimenting with girls. Ellie retorts that it was not an experiment, to which Joel claims she does not know what she is talking about and they will discuss it later. Annoyed that night, Ellie ventures out into the empty garage in the rain, surveying it. Joel wakes up to find her trying to move her mattress. He stops her, pointing out it is in the middle of the night and raining, adding there is no heat or running water. He tries to lay down the rules as it is his house, but Ellie retorts that the house was given to them and he does not own anything. Joel hesitantly gives her permission to move to the garage, but insists they wait a few days while he fixes it up. Ellie agrees and they put the mattress back. Joel talks about the moth tattoo, inquiring why she seems to be drawing so many moths, and Ellie replies that she read about them and started dreaming, claiming it is symbolic, to which Joel suggests about change and growing. Joel visits Gail, played by Catherine O'Hara, who is Mrs. McAllister in Home Alone and Home Alone 2. The next day, about moths appearing in dreams could mean. Gail denies his assumption that they mean growth, explaining moths actually mean death. She asks Joel why he asks, but he does not respond and leaves, to her bewilderment. Ellie continues packing her room for the move to the garage. She gathers some drawings of moths she made in her journal, on one image of which she has written, "You have a greater purpose." And then on the morning of her 19th birthday, Ellie rehearses her questions she has for Joel about what happened in Salt Lake City. Among other things, she wants to know why the Fireflies did not see the Raiders coming, how they could have gotten away from the Raiders if Joel was carrying her, and why they had not seen no other immune people despite his claims the Fireflies had several. Her rehearsing is interrupted by Joel, who reveals as a gift for her birthday he is taking her on her first patrol. Joel tries to connect with Ellie by showing her the ropes of the patrol and suggesting they spend more time together, but her response was negative. They are interrupted by a Jackson dispatch notifying them that Eugene and Adam have been attacked by infected near Pinnacle and need backup. Ellie insists on joining Joel. Arriving at the cliffside, they leave the horses and climb down to travel on foot. They hear an infected screech and a gunshot. They encounter Adam's horse fleeing, dragging Adam's body with it. Venturing further into the woods, Ellie spots the body of a dead infected. Eventually, they find Eugene, who reluctantly reveals he was bitten. Noting they most likely have an hour, he requests that they take him back to the walls of Jackson so he can so he can at least say goodbye to Gale before they put him down. Ellie interrupts Joel by making Eugene do the number test for infection that the Fireflies did to her. He passes it, which Ellie shows as proof that he has time, suggesting they tie him up and bring him back so he can see his wife. Joel tells Ellie to go get the horses and bring them down the trail, and they will meet up again, adding when Ellie hesitates that he promises. Joel leads Eugene through the woods. As Eugene admits the cordyceps is making him feel cold, they arrive at the shore of the lake, which Eugene admires briefly before realizing that Joel intends to go through with killing him before they ever get to Jackson. Joel says he can pass on Eugene's last words, but Eugene insists that he needs to see Gale one last time himself. Joel tells him that if he loves someone, he can always see their face. Eugene removes his glasses as he looks out into the horizon, saying after a moment, "I see her." Ellie arrives minutes later to find Joel standing over Eugene's dead body. They return to Jackson with the body in tow, but Ellie refuses to talk to Joe on the way. I think I said Joel there. Joel on the way. Arriving back at Jackson with Eugene's body, Joel consoles Gale by claiming Eugene's last words were that he loved her and he ended it himself. However, Ellie spitefully reveals the truth that Eugene begged to see her, and Joel promised him and Ellie that he would take him back to see Gale, only to shoot him in the head. Gale slaps Joel and insists that he get away from her, and Ellie turns to Joel and tells him, "You swore," before running off. Joel sits at a table at the party with Tommy, so this was like episode 1 of this season, with Tommy, Maria, and Benji. He watches Ellie and Jesse converge and Dina dance. As the slow dance starts and Dina and Ellie pair up, Maria comments on his, what he's done. She brings up previously calling him a refugee, apologizing for sounding ungrateful. She reminds Joel that he is family and family helps each other out, offering to do so if he needs it. They are interrupted when they hear Seth confronting Dina and Ellie with confrontation ensuing where Joel shoves Seth and Ellie lashes out at him. And then, of course, later that night, Joel waits on the porch for Ellie playing her newly restringed guitar. Ellie arrives home and first marches off to the garage, only to return to the porch moments later. So we didn't think that she talked to Joel then, but she ends up doing it. The two at first make small talk. Ellie notices Joel drinking coffee, which he admits he got in the trade a week before. Joel asks her about her and Dina's relationship, noting he thinks Dina would be lucky to have Ellie as a girlfriend. Finally, Ellie tells him that the look on his face when he promised he would not kill Eugene was the same as when he swore he was telling the truth about what happened with the Fireflies. She admits she knew the whole time that he had been lying and tells him that he has one last chance to tell her the truth or else they are done. Joel does not say anything as Ellie asks her questions to him, only responding with a head shake or a nod to confirm what she had already figured out. There are no other immune people or raiders. The Fireflies could have made a cure, and Joel killed them all off, including Marlene from season 1. And then Joel finally reveals that making the cure would have killed Ellie, to which Ellie emotionally yells that her whole purpose was to die at the hospital, and he took that from her and everyone else. Joel admits to this and that he will pay the price as it will push Ellie away, but he would do it all over again. Ellie claims this is because he is selfish, but Joel replies it's because he loves her in a way she cannot understand and maybe never will. Joel tells her that he hopes if she decides to have children, that she'll be able to do better than him. Kind of going back to what his dad said to him. Ellie tearfully tells Joel she does not think she can forgive him for what he has done, but would like to. And then we have Ellie emerge from the subway after attacking Nora and returns to the theater to meet with Jesse and Dina. And that's what ends this episode of The Last of Us. So, really good stuff here. We get to catch up with Ellie and Joel. Obviously, Joel's now gone, but we get more of Joel. So, I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. And my characters of the episode are going to be Ellie and Joel. I did like Eugene in this, played by Joel Pantoli. I can't remember his last name, how to say it, but he was Captain Howard in most of the Bad Boys movies. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Last of Us and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The Last of Us. What would you rate it? Who would you choose as a character or characters of the episode? Remember to click right here if you want to see any of my other previous Last of Us content. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100k subs. Yes, I know I set my goals pretty high. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.